The California Legislature votes to ban change therapy for those with unwanted same-sex attractions. Liberty Counsel is poised to defend the rights of parents, patients, and counselors. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me in studio today is, again, Sean Akers, Vice President of Middle Eastern Affairs with Liberty Counsel. Sean, you know, when we talked about this yesterday on Faith and Freedom, when leftists don't like what conservatives, Christians, and others are doing, they will seek every means possible to silence dissent and silence debate. In the state of California, they have now banned, and we're waiting to see if Governor Jerry Brown is going to sign this new law. He has said that he will. They have passed a bill that prohibits minors from receiving change therapy counseling regarding same-sex attractions. The bill is headed to Jerry Brown's desk, and it bans any counseling or therapy that seeks to reduce or eliminate same-sex attraction or guide children away from gender confusion. This is a gross assault on parental rights. This is an attack on children and really leaves young people who may be struggling with same-sex attraction, suffering from various sexual confusion. This pigeonholes those kids, and here is the government saying that they know better than counselors, than pastors, than parents on how to treat children who are struggling with these issues. The government is saying, no, if you do not affirm them in this demonstrably destructive lifestyle, physically, emotionally, spiritually, we will come after you. You will be officially sanctioned under the full authority of law. This is chilling. Liberty Counsel is standing up, and we're poised to sue.
You know, Matt, I thought for a long time that it really was a matter of the state saying, or activist groups saying through the state, that we know better than you. What's best for your children. I'm about to decide, though, that it's not really that as much as they don't care what's best for the children. This is what's best for their political movement. And we see the exact same thing. This is a close corollary to pre-abortion counseling in the abortion area, that somebody is so afraid of a person who's going to take an action that's politically beneficial for them might change their mind if they were faced with the facts that they want to cut off the speaker. You're seeing a squelching of speech and, quite frankly, of what's in the best medical and psychological benefits of the people. We've talked about this in the context of abortion over and over again, that if you were going out to buy a car and somebody tried to put in a rule that the Used Car Sellers Association of the United States had passed into legislation that you're not allowed to receive any counseling on the used car that you're about to buy, you're not allowed to have it checked out, you're not allowed to find any of the facts, you can do all that after you make the irreversible purchase, then we would all be up in arms, and we'd all see that there's an agenda being pushed.
Right.
But when we do that in this case, and in the case of abortion, we're saying, you know, you're about to take an irreversible, incredibly life-altering move, and we're going to pass legislation that says that you can't be fully informed, you can't be fully counseled before you make that decision. That really does go against way beyond the pale.
Well, it's chilling, and this is their first attempt. They want to set up this type of ban across the country, and this is by design. It's a political agenda.
Sure.
They cry that, and there's no scientific evidence whatsoever. In fact, the evidence is overwhelming to the contrary. That for people with unwanted same-sex attractions, that to explore those issues in some way is harmful. There's just no evidence. In fact, even the American Psychological Association has said there's no evidence to support the contention that this is harmful to people, and yet that is the cry, that this is to again protect the children. Very, very clever in order to further a demonstrably political agenda. And the political agenda here is, you got to think about this, Sean. As you know, in order to gain suspect minority status as a preferred, protected class of individuals, you have to be defined that as a class by an immutable, unchangeable characteristic. So the reality that there are untold thousands of people who have left homosexuality, who have changed. That proves that it's immutable. So they have to silence even attempts and even discussion about the immutability of homosexuality, so-called sexual orientation. And it's a political calculus. It is not a clinical calculus.
You know, Matt, we've heard over the years, you've heard it said that a text without a context is a pretext.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, the context is a political movement. It's not a health movement. And unfortunately, as we've seen, you know, even historically, it's always children that pay the highest price for an illegitimate move in society. It demands a sacrifice, and the sacrifice is often the health and welfare of minors and children. And whether that's abortion or whether that's this, you know, it begs the question of what's everybody afraid of? And I'll tell you, another that would be interesting to look into, Matt, is how we're defining harm in this particular case. Does it mean that if I don't like what you say or that you dare challenge something that I want to believe, that's harmed me? It may be harmful to their movement. If they're defining harm as harm to their political movement, okay, maybe it does cause harm. But nowhere, you know, you and I mean, when we take our children to the doctor and they list out, as part of full disclosure, a list of the things that could happen to your child as connected to getting this Band-Aid that they're about to give them, they tell you all kind of things that are upsetting. Is that harmful? Is it harmful to fully disclose, or would it be harmful to let someone do something without having a frank and honest and scientific discussion?
Well, they don't want the discussion to be had because they don't like the conclusion that people arrive at when the discussion is carried out. Well, in recent, the past couple of years, a peer-reviewed study was released in the Journal of Human Sexuality that found, quote, religiously mediated sexual orientation change is possible for some individuals and does not cause psychological harm on average. Sean, even the American Psychological Association, this is no bastion of conservatism. It's really largely become just a politically charged organization and has put politics over, free inquiry and objective inquiry into scientific issues, unfortunately. But even they assigned a task force led by a group of homosexuals themselves, a task force, and despite trying in every way possible to come up with a negative attack on change therapy, the APA even found this, quote, although there is insufficient evidence to support the use of psychological interventions to change sexual orientation. So they're kind of saying, well, it's insufficient to say it is good. And this is, I believe, came out before the study that I just cited. Some individuals modified their sexual orientation, identity, behavior, and values. They did so in a variety of ways and with varied and unpredictable outcomes, some which were temporary. Based on the available data, additional claims about the meaning of those outcomes are scientifically unsupported. However, on the basis of the task force findings, the APA encourages mental health professionals to provide assistance to those who seek orientation change therapy by utilizing affirmative multicultural components. The client, and they push and they emphasize this needs to be a client-centered approach. And that's how it has always been with counseling. And the APA went on to say that there was no real clear evidence that there was any harm that could be caused. But the APA always puts the client first. In this case, it says, client, forget what you want. If your same-sex attractions are unwanted, too bad, you're stuck with them.
Well, and that's exactly what's being said, Matt. And if you think about it, look at the larger psychological and sociological impact of this. What you're really seeing is a collective saying to a group of people, what you really need and what you desire doesn't matter nearly as much as what we want.
Well, what does matter is parental rights and the rights of young people who are struggling with unwanted same-sex attractions. And Liberty Counsel is here to stand up for those individuals and for those rights. To learn more about Liberty Counsel and our pro-family mission, go to lc.org or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. This is what we do. We stand in the gap to protect those who are under attack, like young people out in California struggling with unwanted same-sex attraction. Go to lc.org or give us a call, 800-671-1776.